Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses as we continue with part 15 of the Genius of Freemasonry by J.D. Buck. The Pope's Politics. The state has not the right to leave every man free to profess and embrace whatever religion he shall deem true. It has not the right to enact that the ecclesiastical power shall require the permission of the civil power in order to the exercise of its authority. The Church has the right to require the state not to leave every man free to profess his own religion. She has the right to exercise her power without the permission of the Church. She has the right of perpetuating the union of Church and state. She has the right to require that the Catholic religion shall be the only religion of the state to the exclusion of all others. She has the right to prevent the state from granting the public exercise of their own worship to persons immigrating into it. She has the power of requiring the state not to permit free expression of opinion. We might care no more what the Pope's politics in Rome might be than that of the Pharaohs in ancient Egypt, but when with a solid vote of over 3 billion he proposes to graft it on free America, we are bound to care, and we shall presently be compelled to take note. He is gaining power in America every day by graft, secrecy, cunning, boycott, and organization. All the tricks of the wily politician, and when we are reluctantly compelled to take notice, civil war would be the logic result. Really? Is there no danger? A religious sect wherein the conscience of the individual is subject to ecclesiastical authority is a dangerous factor in politics. The non-control of conscience leaves nothing in the individual of which argument can be addressed. King. Roman Catholicism, whenever acted as a political, ecclesiastical organization, purposes to vote as a unit. King. Modern constitutional government. Liberty of conscience, religious liberty, free speech, free press, free popular education, equality of all before the law, the imperial liberties which give character to free governments and institutions, are tolerated for necessity and never conceded as rights by Roman Catholic ecclesiastical power. King. Speaking of the Jesuits in Mexico, Dr. William Butler says, "This hateful society, whose machinations give the religious world no rest, prepared the plan which God reserved in Mexico. Standing back in the shadow, they work unseen day and night for their purposes. By the use of the confessional, they can lay their hands on every secret of society and personal life in every family, where they have a representative of their religion. And as to politics and public men, no power in this world is so debased as that of Jesuitism." Mexico, instead of being, as she was 25 years ago, the most priest-ridden country on earth, has worked her way up by the help of God and the valor of her sons to the position of the most free of all Roman Catholic lands, while her existing laws now sanction no monastery or nunnery, sisters of charity, or Jesuits within her bounds. King. Mexico has journeyed from Rome to freedom. Thanks to the wisdom and power of Freemasonry, we in America are going the other way, and the trials of the Sisyphus were easy compared with what our return journey will be if we put it off much longer. If asked to name the strongest resource and the greatest power of Rome in America today, I should unhesitatingly declare it to be its Jesuitical hold upon the public press. It realized this power, planned it, bought it, and now not a warning note from the press is sounded as the black-robed army goes marching on, chuckling at their own cunning and our folly and supineness. We are too easy. The historian Freud, writing on what a Catholic majority could do in America, says, "It is only as long as they are a small minority that they can be loyal subjects under such a constitution as the American. As their numbers grow, they will assert their principles more and more. Give them the power and the Constitution will be gone. A Catholic majority, under spiritual direction, will forbid liberty of worship and will try to forbid liberty of conscience. It will control education. It will put the press under surveillance, which is already done. It will punish opposition with excommunication, and excommunication will be attended with civil disabilities. Mr. Froude speaks like a seer. King Archbishop Ireland has at times become eloquent, even emotional, over our free institutions. In 1890 he said, "I am the friend and advocate of the state school. I protest with all the energy of my soul against the charge that the schools of the nation have their enemies among the Catholics." This sounds nice, but wait a little. In a book written 2 years before by Reverend Michael Muller appears the following endorsement over the signature of John Ireland, pastor of Cathedral St. Paul, Minnesota. "Your book is so well timed, its doctrine so correct and pristine, the arguments you employ so cogent, that I am confident it will, under God's providence, do a great deal of good. May your book be found especially in the hands of every priest in the land." Now listen to Reverend Muller, as endorsed by the Archbishop. "Were you given to see a devil and the soul of an infidel at the same time, you would find the sight of the devil more bearable than that of the infidel." Now the public school system was invented and introduced into this country to turn the rising generation into men of the above description. We may, then, confidently assert that the defenders and upholders of public schools without religion seek in America as well as in Europe to turn the people into refined pagans. The object, then, of these godless, irreligious public schools is to spread among the people the worst of religions, the one religion, the religion which pleases most hardened idolaters and criminals, the religion of irrational animals. The moral character of the public schools in many of our cities has sunk so low that even courtesans have disguised themselves as schoolgirls in order the more surely to ply their foul vocation. Possibly the Reverend Muller got his statistics from the godless public schools in Chicago and Boston, where more than 75% of the teachers are Catholics. Father Crowley's specific charges against parochial schools and some of their teachers ought also to be taken into account. The reader can now judge what an adept at juggling with words is Archbishop Ireland. He carries water on both shoulders without a quiver. Mr. King still further follows the record of Archbishop Ireland on the school question, but we have not room for more here. The above is sufficient as an object lesson. Is the Orthodox Catholic truly the friend of our godless public schools? Now listen to Reverend Daniel Cunning on December 12, 1897 in St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York to the New York Union of Catholic Young Men's Societies. "It is strange that millions of Catholics can be governed by men who hate the name of Catholic. It almost seems as if the struggle of past centuries had been in vain. In this country, where democracy is on trial, we must not lose sight of the fact that history may repeat itself. We aim in our national union to keep young men in a novitiate whence they can be graduated into those movements which are fast becoming the strong arm of Mother Church. There should be a society in every parish. It is thus that Mother Church hopes to make these United States entirely Catholic. Not by the number of voters, mind you, but by a solid Catholic vote holding thus the power of balance. They hold it largely today, and America is fast becoming as Catholic as Italy, even more so than France. When will Americans awaken to a knowledge of the volcano over which they sleep? An eruption is liable to occur any day. The rumbling is as plain and as ominous as at Vesuvius, and still we sleep and dream of no danger. Bolshevism never entered American politics until political ecclesiastical Romanism showed it how to move and set its pace. The inventors of the Inquisition were the inventors of Bossism, as well as of the boycott, and the same principle is involved in both institutions. Catholics can be and are masked and voted solid, and this gave the example and set the pace. It is one of our plagues from Rome. If the mass of American people actually realized what is being done in their midst, the motives and methods used to steal away their liberties, they would arise in mass and scorn the representatives of Rome back to the holy city. And yet, they have been warned openly again and again. I would like to quote in full Mr. King's masterly treatment of the cry, "No peril." One paragraph must suffice. No peril. When a Rome archbishop announces that he and his brethren hold the balance of power in Canada and through it have controlled the elections, and asserts that by a similar use of the balance of power, presidential elections will be decided in this republic. The foregoing quotations are gathered almost at random from Facing the 20th Century, a book published by Jennings and Fye of Cincinnati in 1899. It is written by James M. King and deserves for every reason to rank side by side with our Declaration of Independence as a conservator of all our free institutions. It is scholarly, dispassionate, and exaltive, and yet I have seen no reference to it in The Conservators of Our Liberties, the Daily Press. I can imagine and indulge at least a faint hope that the foregoing quotations may incite Brother Masons to read carefully Mr. King's book. I might quote from current events and newspaper notices almost innumerable to show how stealthily, rapidly, and secretly this unholy crusade against our free institutions is being pushed in every direction. If Masons will take notice, they will find evidence in abundance to substantiate every claim herein made. Today, as I write, a notice in the Daily Press declares that the Pope has prohibited a procession of cardinals for fear they would be insulted in a Catholic country and in the shadow of the Vatican. Something must be getting wrong with these good Catholics when they forget to reverence these political despots in petticoats, bedecked with jewels. God's vice-regents seem hardly appreciated by those who see them most and know them best. They may presently seek asylum in this free country and look after the morals of the rising generation here. The mafia, with which New York and other cities are just now concerned, ought to be sufficient without a further scourge from the genius of political ecclesiastical Romanism, which begot the mafia, their ignorant and bungling imitators. The secret of the diabolical possibilities of holy office, or inquisition, was found in the confessional, where the most honest and pious the believer, the more valuable the testimony he will be liable to give to the unscrupulous priest who stood between his soul and his God, and, prostituting his sacred office, the priest passed the secrets of the soul and the safety and lives of kindred into the hands of the pitiless inquisitor. Has dishonor ever exceeded this? King. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. If you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.